Before we discuss a crime, we have to discuss the days, weeks, months of premeditation. There are always circumstances leading up to the incident. In my opinion, no one is born a killer. Happy Wicked Wednesday, y'all. How are y'all today? It's me, Anne Marie, the Cajun Crime Queen from Carencro, Louisiana. Cajun born, Cajun bred, and when I die, I'll be Cajun dead. I hope y'all having a great night tonight. It's the middle of the week. It's almost the weekend. And guess what, y'all? Next week is Thanksgiving. Can y'all believe that? It's normally on the last Thursday of the month, but this year it's on the 23rd instead of the 30th. But I already have my Christmas tree up. November 1st hits, that's it. It's time for Christmas. I like to leave my Christmas decorations up from November 1st to January 8th, which is Elvis Presley's birthday. And on January 9th, I take them down because I just want to celebrate with the king because that's the way he did it. What are y'all up to lately? And I want to know so people can stop telling me it's too early to decorate for Christmas. I'm forgetting about Thanksgiving, but we can celebrate Thanksgiving with Christmas decorations out, right? I mean, that's just my opinion, I think. So y'all let me know down in the comments, when do y'all start decorating for Christmas? I hope y'all have a beverage. I hope y'all have a cuddle partner or a cuddle fur partner, and y'all are just by yourself ready to cuddle with this Cajun cutie, Anne Marie, while we discuss a case. And who are we going to talk about today? Drum roll, please. Brrr. Christy Bird Sheats. Christy Bird Sheats was born in Decatur, Alabama on May 2nd, 1974. Christy was a very sweet, loving child. We don't really know much about her parents, but we do know that she had a very close relationship to her grandparents, especially her grandfather, whom she adored, she loved, she doted on him. That was everything to her knight in shining armor. While Christy was in high school, she met her future husband, Jason Sheats. Jason Sheats went to high school about 20 minutes away from Christy, and it was said that Christy did not graduate high school, but Jason did, which I think that kind of caused some tension from kind of the stuff I've heard and I've read. But anyway, right after Jason graduated from high school, they were married. They were living in Decatur, Alabama. They moved to Huntsville, Alabama, where they welcomed their first sweet, beautiful daughter, Taylor Ashton Sheats, born April 19th, 1994. She was loving, she was sweet. She had everybody wrapped around her finger. Not long after that, the small little family moved to Coleman, Alabama, where they welcomed their second daughter, Madison Tyler Sheats, born October 21st of 1998. Now their family was complete, and it was said they moved to Katy, Texas. Maybe a job, maybe Jason got a job, but they did move from Alabama to Katy, Texas, where they bought a home and started a life together. When they arrived in Texas, Jason Sheats was working, but Christy had to find a job. She wanted to work, she wanted to do something. She just didn't want to stay home. All her family and her friends were back in Alabama. She just couldn't keep a job. She would bounce around. She was a stylist. She was a marketing assistant. She would go from here to there. She didn't know what she wanted, so she was never steady in a job. She was also known as a controlling mom, according to Jason Sheets. She wanted to know where her kids were 24/7, wanted to know who they were talking to, wanted to know who they were with. She just wanted to make sure they were always okay. Now, y'all, we're going to get started with this, and I'm going to tell y'all this. If y'all want to know the definition of a helicopter mom, y'all go in the dictionary. It will show Anne Marie, a.k.a. the Cajun Crime Queen from Carencro, Louisiana. I will run the helicopter. I will be the pilot. I will wear the shirt. I will be the CEO of the Helicopter Mom Club. I am the same exact way. I want to know where my daughters are 24/7. I want to know what they're doing. I want to know who they with. I want to know if they're okay. I want to know who they talking to. That's just me. Of course, my man's always like, give them space, give them space. They're not babies, but that's just how I am. I have to know where my kids are 24/7. They're my babies. God, they're so yummy. So we are going to sit down right now and we are going to discuss those beautiful two daughters of Jason and Christy Sheats. Now, we all know that it was said that Jason Sheats was the cool dad. As always, the dads are always the cool ones. They're the fun ones to go play outside while the moms are getting everything in order. The oldest daughter, Taylor Ashton Sheats, was a beautiful girl. She graduated from college in 2012, where she was on the softball team. She was an amazing artist. She was on the National Honor Society. She was just a great person. She was loving. She was sweet. She loved her family. She loved to babysit. She started dating in December of 2011 a man named Juan Lugo, and they were only days away from walking down the aisle. She started attending Lone Star College, where she received an associate's degree. She was also on the dean's list there, and she was in a sorority. She had it going on, honey. She was just boom, 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 boom. Everywhere you look, she was getting stuff done. Now, the younger sister, who, I don't know, I'm kind of drawn to her maybe because just the way she acts. She just seems so outgoing and loving and sweet. Madison, Tyler Sheets, would wake up in the morning, make everyone breakfast. She was funny. She was loving. She was entering her senior year in high school. She had so many friends. She loved social media. She loved and adored children. She was also on the Spanish National Honor Society in high school, which is, to me, that's just amazing. She loved to dog sit. She would go around asking her neighbors if they needed a person to watch their dogs, and she would always do it. They said she was the funniest person that you will ever meet. Now, in June of 2012, this is when Christy, she started to kind of go downhill because her beloved grandfather passed away in June of 2012. And then only 2 months later, y'all, her mother passed away. This was an incredibly hard time for Christy Sheats. She was going in a downward spiral. I was looking back at some of her posts on social media. Sometimes she couldn't even get out the car. She was crying so much, y'all. How devastating is that? And like I always say, we don't know what people are going through. And it was said by her husband, Jason Sheets, that she had mental health issues. And a lot of us don't know a lot about mental health issues, but not all of us react the same way. But to lose two people that are extremely close to you, 2 months of each other, that has to be hard. And she couldn't even function sometimes, get out of bed, get out of her car, get out of the house, couldn't even take a shower. She was just always crying and depressed and anxious. Her grandfather left her a 5-shot firearm to protect her family when he passed away, and she clung to that because it did belong to her grandfather, who she loved and adored very, very much. Now, in January, May, and July of 2012, police were called to the house for a end it all attempt by Christy, which I'm going to pause right there. If her grandfather passed away in June of 2012, it looks like twice before he passed away, in January and May, she tried to end it all. Now, just a couple of years later, in April of 2014, there was a possible end it all attempt. And in April of 2015, there was a verbal altercation in the house. I don't know who it was, who he was with, if Christy was involved. We have no clue. That's just what I saw on the record for not the 911 calls. That is a lot of end it all attempts, which I think was a cry for attention. I feel so bad for Christy. My heart goes out to her, and my heart goes out to Jason as well, because I think that he was trying everything he could to make her happy and just couldn't at that time. She was also admitted to mental health facilities. Nothing was just helping for Christy. She started taking antidepressant medication, anti-anxiety medication. She was drinking all the time. She couldn't find her way out of this misery. They said the loss of her grandfather just put her in a spiral that she just couldn't get out of. It's like she was in this boat and she was drowning, and people kept offering her a life vest, and she wasn't accepting it. She was just drowning in all of this emotion, and all of us have been there. I will discuss stuff with y'all one day as we get closer and closer, because I've been through things that you just kind of feel like you're in a hole and you can't get out of it. And all of that started pouring into Jason and Christy's marriage. They would separate, get back together. Christy would move into an apartment, and then she would come back home. Everything was just going just downhill. Everything was just heading down south fast. And another thing is, this is when Jason and Christy really needed to come together, because Christy really needed Jason at this point. She just lost her grandfather, who she was close to. She had just lost her mother. Everything was just kind of going crazy. And she really didn't have that many friends or family in Texas. And some of that self-hatred and low self-esteem, as Jason has said, Christy had low self-esteem and self-hatred that would pour into the marriage and the daughters. And she would also often compare herself to her daughters, telling things like to Madison, well, when I was your age, I was this size, or I was this weight, and trying on their clothes and making kind of comments to them about the way they look and hurting their feelings, you know. But I really think Christy just had this huge void in her life. And I think she loved her children, but she was going through so much at that time that she couldn't get past things. And the devastation of her grandfather, like I said earlier, the post she would write, she was constantly posting pictures of him, constantly talking about how incredibly depressed and sad she was. And y'all, drinking and taking medication, all of that, okay, but all that pain is still gonna be there. It's still there. If you take something and you wake up, or if you drink and you wake up, guess what? It's just staring you at like just in your face. You have to look at it and just accept it and face it and say, this is what I'm going through and this is how I'm going to help myself. I also noticed that Christy, who was a gorgeous woman, would post pictures of herself a lot on social media. Before her grandfather passed away, I saw she would kind of post a lot of pictures of her family, of things she did, her girls. But then it kind of started to just get to Christy. And I think Christy was trying to feel some type of void in her life, wanted some type of reassurance. And I love selfies. I think selfies are great. I think that when I see selfies, it puts a smile on my face, because you know the person's happy at that time, or they feel pretty, or they feel loved, or they just want to make other people smile. So all the people that post selfies, please continue it, because this Cajun girl loves it. I love it. I'm guilty of that too, y'all. I'm like, oh, I look good. Just joking. Am I the only one? No, I'm not the only one. I know we all have done that. But anyway, in 2014, Christy got a job at a tattoo removal place. She was a receptionist. But her boss describes her as very erratic. She would sometimes just not show up, sometimes not show up, not even call. She was misrepresenting herself on social media, telling people she was a manager and she had been there for 2 years when she was a receptionist and only been there a couple of months. Well, finally, her boss terminated her after only 5 months. She said that her boss said she took the news well. It was nothing crazy. She just went on with her life. No big deal. Now, Christy also would post beautiful messages on her wall about her daughters, Madison and Taylor. And here is one that I'm going to share with y'all that she wrote to both her daughters on National Daughters Day. Happy Daughters Day to my 2 amazing, sweet, kind, beautiful, intelligent girls. I love you, and I treasure you both more than you could ever possibly know. Now, when I read that, that is a mother who loves her children. She loves her children dearly. And I don't know what happened on this day. I don't know if Christy just had enough. I don't know if she couldn't take it. I also want to note this, like I told you earlier, there's not a lot of information on Christy. We don't know what medicine she was on. We don't know how long she was staying in facilities. We don't know why the heck she owned a firearm if she's doing ending attempts. We have no clue about some of the things that she was going through. But on this day, June 24th of 2016, which was Jason Sheats' birthday, she was ready to argue. Christy was ready to argue from the time she woke up. She was having an argument with Taylor Sheats, her oldest, her 22-year-old daughter, about the upcoming marriage to her fiance just in a couple of days. And they just kept arguing. Well, finally, Christy, who had just moved back in after reconciling with Jason, she had just moved back home. She wanted to ground Taylor. a 22-year-old adult. And Jason Sheats told her, Christy, it's inappropriate to ground our 22-year-old daughter. I don't agree with you. Well, Christy was in an uproar. She was angry. She was mad. She was fussing all day. Madison, the little one, the 17-year-old, even spoke to one of her friends. And one of her friends said that the night before, the Friday night, the day before, on June 23rd, the friend said she was very annoyed, very short, but just said that her and her mom had been arguing all day, but just didn't really give a lot of detail about what was going on. And since it was Jason Sheets' birthday that day, June 24th, he had had enough. He told Christy, I want a divorce, and this is the last birthday you will ever ruin for me or my children. Around 5 p.m. that day, Christy was still very angry. I mean, she was mad all day. She was mad at the girls. She was mad at Jason for not agreeing to punish Taylor. So at 5 o'clock that afternoon, she called a family meeting. Jason said, well, she probably wants to discuss the impending divorce with the girls, so let's all go downstairs and talk. Well, Christy was sitting on the couch. Everyone walked in, and she looked at Jason, and she said, I demand an apology. And Jason said, I refuse. And I told her, I'm not going to apologize for not grounding our 22-year-old child. Christy then does the unthinkable. She takes out the firearm that her grandfather gave her, the 5-shot firearm. She pointed it at the girls while Jason Sheets was yelling, please don't, make it easy, just shoot yourself. Why would he say that? I have no clue. How would that help anything? But I guess in that situation, we don't know what we would do in that situation, but that is very, very scary. And it's hard for me to understand why he would say that, but I don't understand the position he was in at that time. She was waving the gun around. Y'all can go listen to the 911 calls. They're all over YouTube or the internet. And, you know, like I tell y'all all the time, everything's public knowledge. Y'all can go listen to them. You hear the 911 calls, Jason bargaining with Christy. We'll do whatever you want. Please don't shoot us. Don't shoot the girls. And she yells, no, this isn't what this is about. This is about punishing you, punishing Jason, because she knew he loved those little girls, and she also knew he wanted a divorce. And she kind of felt at that time there was no way out. She was just that depressed. She then does something horrible. She turns and shoots Madison in the neck and Taylor in the back. And Jason rushes. He gets to his kids behind the couch. He helps them escape out the door. She fires 3 more rounds. She hits the wall. She misses them, thank goodness. Finally, they walk outside. They make it to the street. Madison collapses right away in the street, and Taylor collapses, and Christy is coming back outside to shoot them again. Jason rushes the neighbors. Y'all call 911. He's trying to help Taylor. All of a sudden, Christy goes back in to reload and shoots Taylor again in the back. She wanted to make sure she was gone. This was pitiful because it was said that Taylor was struggling to get up. She was struggling to make it, while her little sister, who was probably already passed away, just feet from her, was laying in the street, collapsed from a gunshot wound. Now, how horrible is this situation? And if you listen to the 911 calls, the person that called 911 my heart goes out to him and his family, because they had to watch all of that. This was all happening in front of everyone in the street. So everyone was seeing this. How terrifying. But I think at that time, Christy had tunnel vision. I think that all she was thinking about right then and there is herself and the misery she was going through. So let's take it out on everybody else, especially my husband, who doesn't want to be with me. I'm depressed, so let me take it out on these children. In my opinion, I think Christy truly loved her children, but I think that she was going through some mental health issues that she just couldn't get over. Now, not long after the cops arrived, while Christy was standing in the street, they ordered her to put down the gun. She did not put down the gun. They fired 1 shot, hitting Christy in the chest and killing her instantly. That was it. The whole thing was over. But how depressing and sad. In 1 second, in 1 day on his birthday, Jason Sheats lost his wife and the 2 things that no parent should ever have to do. He lost his 2 daughters. And my heart goes out to him every single day. They showed pictures of him and he was just shaking. He was distraught. He was so upset. He loved his children so much and was so devoted to them. And to lose everything that day, and especially on his birthday, it was just a sad time for the family. Now, y'all remember, Christy was severely depressed, taking medications, drinking, seeing a therapist, gone to mental health facilities, private mental health facilities, doing everything she could to get over this. But just like Andrea Yates, she couldn't get past any of it. She could not move on with her life anymore and thought to herself, I'm going to end everything. But instead of ending her life, she wanted to end the lives of her two children to make her husband suffer, which I have no clue why. But the death of her grandfather really just struck her in a different type of hurt. And I think that she was so heartbroken that she just couldn't get past it. And I really think that she was in this depression mode, and maybe that day she knew. We don't know. Just like these school shootings, or these people that go up in, like Jennifer San Marco, that goes into the post office and shoots people. We don't know the planning of it. Was this planned? Is this how it was supposed to happen? We have no clue what made her do what she did that day. Did she take something? Was she drinking a lot? Was she not in her right mind? We have no clue. Now, on July 2nd of 2016, Taylor and Madison Sheats were laid to rest in Alabama, their home state. Jason did not claim Christy's body. I have no clue why, but he did not. And supposedly another family member claimed the body, and she was cremated at a private ceremony, which I don't know. Maybe Jason was very upset, which he has every right to be. That was kids. That was his babies. I think that Christy was suffering. I think she was truly suffering, and I feel that at that time, she couldn't find a way out. Now, y'all, research, and you know how I am. When I start a case, I dive, I tread water, jump on the diving board, because I want to give y'all all the information and that I know, that I found out, so y'all could just sit down and relax while I tell y'all the story. There is a thing called spousal revenge, that the spouse wants to take revenge on the other spouse by sometimes hurting the children. And there were signs. She was depressed. She was doing it. She had tried to end it all several times. She was in a facility. She was drinking. I think that she wanted to take this revenge out on Jason, and she wanted to make him suffer. But it's normally caused by an affair, or when the person wants a divorce and the other spouse doesn't. So that's kind of all the information we have on spousal revenge, but it still breaks my heart to this day. My final thought. Y'all know I always come to y'all with my final thought and tell y'all how I feel. As we all know, a lot of spree killers, I'm not saying Christy was a spree killer, but a lot of spree killers want to end it all after they do some type of killing. Now, a lot of them say to themselves, well, I'm miserable. So I'm going to take this misery out on everybody else. And sometimes it's innocent people. They are so miserable that there's no way out. They're ending it. This is it. But they're going to take people down with them. Some people take people down with them that has caused them misery. Some people take innocent people down, like children, like these school shootings. And some people just take people down because they want other people to feel the pain they're feeling, and they don't want to go on anymore, and they want to take something with them. Or, like in Columbine, they wanted to be known for something. You know, we never know, like I always say, we never know what people are going through and why. But some people, you look back at their history, and there's always something that's leading up to this. There's always some type of red flags that are leading up to this. But Christy, when I saw that she had had all these end-it-all attempts before her grandfather died, there was always an underlying issue, in my opinion, with Christy and her mental health. Because in my opinion, you don't wake up one morning and just decide you're going to shoot your children. To me, it doesn't happen that way. That's just my personal opinion. I think there has to be some type of planning. I think that, they're so into their emotions and into their hurt that they do stop whatever they're doing and just say, I'm just going to do this to spur of the moment. I don't know. But what I do know is that if anyone needs help, get help. when you start feeling those feelings, maybe call 911 and say, you know, I'm thinking about hurting myself or hurting someone else. Can you please come and help me? And anyone can get you help. And like I always say, y'all can always message me. Y'all can always talk to me, because a lot of these people, we're not talking about Ted Bundy here, who was just, you know, acting crazy. A lot of these mothers and fathers sometimes, a lot of these have several mental issues that they're trying to work through, and they don't know how. They have gone through mental facilities, they have been on medication, they have been to therapy, and they just can't get to where they want to be, so they think there is no way out. There is always a way out, always, no matter what. 2022 was the worst year in my entire life, the worst year. I've lost so many people that year, but I came out of it as a stronger person, as a happier person, and knowing that this is the way that life is supposed to be. This is what happens. This is how my life is going to be. And I have to move past it. And you slowly move past things little by little. And that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. This hurt, it will hurt. Maybe it'll hurt for a year, 5 years, 10 years. But eventually you learn to cope with it. And you learn to be okay with it. And my heart goes out to Jason and the family. And a year after this horrible tragedy happened, Jason married a beautiful woman named Monica Sheats, and they are a very happy family now. And he has found happiness, and it will never replace his daughters, who I know he loved very much, but he has learned to love again. I hope y'all all enjoyed today's video. I hope y'all like, subscribe, comment, and make sure y'all press on that notification bell so y'all never miss a video with this Cajun cutie, Anne Marie. I know y'all want to be with me every Wednesday. Isn't it fun? Isn't it exciting? And I hope y'all have a great weekend. And next week is Thanksgiving, so I hope y'all preparing. And I hope y'all thinking about all the things that y'all grateful for, especially family and friends and all y'all loved ones, even the little fur babies. Hope y'all have a great day, and thank y'all so much for spending the night with me tonight and listening to this great video. And I hope y'all all remember there's always a way out. I hope y'all have a good night. Bye.